Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of NFL Turf Talk. I'm your host, Scotty. You can find me on social media accounts at Scotty Drown. And of course, Turf Talk is brought to you by DSM Media, which you can find on social media platforms at DSM_media. We're going to get started just shortly here. I'm getting the show shared out on X. As you can see, I'm here by myself this morning. Dylan's still out sick, as I mentioned on Faithful on Friday. So we will be manning the ship solo here this morning. I will be your captain, but we'll get you through. We'll get you to your destination nice and safely here, and we'll keep you entertained in the meantime. That being said, we got some big matchups this weekend, obviously starting at 1 o'clock with the Chiefs and the Colts. That's my favorite matchup of the early slate, so we're going to dig into that matchup very early here. But just give me one moment to get this shared out on X. And if you're already watching on X, head over to the YouTube channel. Help us out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where we are ultimately trying to grow our platform, and it's going to help us in the long run. So if you enjoy the content, please head over there. And also get involved in the show. That's where your comments will show up here on StreamYard. We'll be able to get you pulled up on the screen and keep everybody involved. But yeah, definitely let me know how you guys are feeling in the comments. If there's any games that are sticking out to you specifically, any games you want to discuss, I'll discuss them openly with you guys in the comments. But other than that, I'm just going to go through the slate one by one. We'll go through each game, and we'll see what the narratives are looking like and see how things are looking for each team. But all that being said, guys, happy Sunday. This, to just think outside of the box, I know this is an NFL show. I mean, there is just a plethora of sports on today. I mean, for myself, I've got five games today across sports for my teams. I'm an Arsenal fan, so Arsenal's obviously playing Tottenham here shortly, 11:30 East Coast time. We got the Sixers playing at 1 p.m. If you're a Sixers fan, obviously I'm a Philly fan. So they play the Heat at 1 p.m. I'm a Duke basketball fan. I know that's a little bandwagon. You can call me out on that. They play Howard at 4. I probably won't watch that one. We got the Eagles and Cowboys at 4:30. And then to end the night, I know, you got your meat in the middle there with the Eagles and Cowboys, but got the Philly Union playing the NYCFC in the semifinals of the MLS playoffs. So a lot going on nonetheless. You got college basketball, you got NBA, you got NFL, obviously, which we're going to talk about here today. But it is a hell of a slate. Let's start at the top, though. I'm looking at this Kansas City-Indianapolis game. You got the Indianapolis Colts coming in 8-2. They're visiting the Kansas City Chiefs, who are a resounding 5-5 after some disappointing losses where, they went on a 3-game win streak, including a win against the Lions. It was actually a pretty dominating fashion type of win for Kansas City against a Lions team that does have a powerful offense. Obviously, they were able to beat them. I believe it was 30-17, and that was like part of their 3-game win streak. They were really starting to pick up some steam. You get Rashee Rice back in the mix. Xavier Worthy got healthy. Patrick Mahomes was playing some MVP level football as we approach the middle of the season there. And then you drop the 2 games, right? You do play Buffalo. It's Josh Allen. That's like, I know people like to call that the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl when they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. Bills go in, they get a win. And then obviously last week you have a huge chance against a division rival. You're trying to catch up with them for the division. Probably out of reach now. I probably shouldn't even use the word probably in that situation. It's out of reach at this point. You got the Chargers even ahead of them as well. So they dropped an opportunity last weekend. It's a tough game. I mean, the Broncos have won, 9 games this season. They've lost 2. They're very strong at home, obviously. But the Chiefs being the Chiefs, you kind of expect them to go in there and take care of business and reestablish themselves in the division. They weren't able to do that in a game where, you kind of need that. They're not out of the playoff hunt, but definitely out of that division hunt for my money. And today, man, I'm looking at this game. When I did my notes yesterday, and I'll double check here just to see what the line's at right now. When I did my notes yesterday, Kansas City, according to the books, was favored by 3.5 points against the Colts. I do get it. The Colts, they've looked, up and down the last couple of weeks. I think they're coming off a bye week now. They should be a little refreshed, but Daniel Jones, he had, a couple shaky weeks, even in wherever they were playing. Was it Madrid or I can't remember where they were playing. Oh my goodness. Was it the Browns? Let me just look it up. Let's get it pulled up. Nonetheless, he was looking shaky in the international game, of course, and then the game before that, it was the Falcons they were playing, actually. Now I remember. They were able to get the W in OT. Great W. You're playing an international game. This is the Berlin game, excuse me. The week before that, they lose to the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Daniel Jones looks suspect in that game. And, credit to Daniel Jones. He has played some good to great football this year. But if you're like me, if you watched him heavily when he was on the Giants, you are going to remain a skeptic until you see him do this throughout an entire season. And then, of course, especially in the playoffs, if you want to believe that the Colts are a true contender. They do have Jonathan Taylor, though, who is playing at, for my money, MVP level. I don't think he's going to win MVP, to be clear. Obviously, I watched Saquon Barkley last year break running back records, and he did not win MVP, right? So I don't expect Jonathan Taylor to win MVP over a quarterback, but he is playing at an MVP caliber pace right now. And I just look over on the Kansas City side, and I think, what if they're just not that good? Like, they're favored in this game? It's still 3.5, according to ESPN. What if the Chiefs just aren't that good? They don't have a Jonathan Taylor. Is Travis Kelce better than Tyler Warren at this point? I'm saying that quietly because, obviously Tyler Warren is a fucking rookie, but who has been more impactful this year? I mean, Tyler Warren leads the Colts in receiving yards. He has 617 yards so far, 50 receptions, 3 touchdowns. Why would the Chiefs be able to shut down Jonathan Taylor today? I want to go back to that Buffalo game. Let's go back to the Buffalo game. It's in Buffalo. And I just remember, I thought so. James Cook in that game, 27 carries, 114 yards on the ground, 4.2 yards per carry. So 4.2 yards per carry, that's nothing crazy to write home about. But Jonathan Taylor is obviously a different type of back than James Cook, and that's with all due respect to James Cook. So I'm looking at the success that he was able to have there. Josh Allen ran for 2 tutties. He didn't have a ton of rushing yards in that game. Josh Allen in the air, 23 for 26 completions, 273 passing yards, 1 touchdown through the air. So 3 total touchdowns for Josh Allen. You could sum that up to a Josh Allen, sure, MVP type of game. But I also look at the Colts kind of in a similar fashion to Buffalo in the sense of you have a dual threat quarterback who, for everyone's money this season, I mean, he's playing decent football. He's playing good football this year, Daniel Jones, especially throwing the football. And then you have Jonathan Taylor. You have that duo in the backfield that obviously can establish themselves and run the football. And then you look at who dominated the Chiefs through the air, receiving, right? And I'm looking at Dalton Kincaid. He had 6 receptions, 101 yards, a touchdown, 6 receptions on 6 targets. He had a 47-yard reception, 16.8 yards per catch, over 100 receiving yards in a tutty against this Chiefs defense. Once again, maybe it's just the Bills. Maybe it was their Super Bowl. Maybe they're highly motivated to go into that game and beat the Chiefs. But I'm looking at this style of team in the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm thinking, why can't they go and do that? Why can't Tyler Warren have a big game today? Why can't Jonathan Taylor have a big game today? Is it just because of the historic perspective of the Kansas City Chiefs? Are we just riding that until the end of the season? Or can we say they're 5-5, they are what they are? They're not that good. If they go out here and beat the Colts today, I guess I'm wondering, like, what will the national perspective be of the Chiefs? They're back. They beat the Colts at home today. Is that like a reviving win to get them back in the playoff? I guess, man. I guess. Just a perplexing team. They play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, actually, so they got a little bit of a short week there. Play the Texans at home. Play the Chargers, Titans, Broncos, Raiders. It's weird. They sort of control their own destiny. They still sort of control their own destiny. They only have 5 losses. If you win today against an 8-2 Colts team, you obviously have to play well to do so. That would put you at 6-5. You play the Cowboys in Dallas on Thanksgiving. That could go either way for my money. Texans at home. Then you play the Chargers. Texans is a team they would be fighting for the wild card spot in the AFC. Chargers, obviously, in division. They're at home against the Chargers. They need to win that game. Get the Titans on the road. You get the Broncos at home, obviously, in division rival. Need to get that game. And then you finish out in Las Vegas. So all that ranting and everything I said, I mean, they go out here. They beat the Colts today. They control their own destiny. They can still make the playoffs. They can still do everything they're ultimately looking to do here. But I do just wonder if they're not that good. I do wonder if the Colts can come out here and blow them out today and kind of just end their season. I am wondering in that regard. But what Daniel Jones do you get today? What Daniel Jones do we pull out of the hat today? Is it going to be MVP Daniel Jones? Is it going to be 3 interceptions, turning the ball, tripping over his own feet, Daniel Jones? I'm going with the Colts here, man. I'll be honest. I'm rooting for the Colts. I want the Colts to win today. I want the Kansas City Chiefs to be out of the picture. They still won't even be all the way out of the picture. They would have 6 losses. They'd be 5-6. It would be a hard path to the playoffs, but they wouldn't really be totally out of the picture. I want the Colts to win today. Because if the Colts can win today, that's a big win in Kansas City still. With Kansas City's backs on the wall, that's a big win. Daniel Jones comes out turning the ball over. They won't win, though. I'm going with the Colts. I'm rooting for the Colts. We'll see. Move on to the next game of the slate. This is another 1 p.m. game. I'm just going to kind of go in order. The order they had shown on ESPN is how I did my notes. So looking at the Steelers 6-4, visiting the Chicago Bears 7-3. The Chicago Bears are 2.5-point favorites in this matchup. Looks like the over-under is set at 46.5. I know Aaron Rodgers was questionable. I'm checking now to see if we have an update on him. Officially questionable. He's been pushing the play. It's a game they need him to play in. It's a game the Steelers ultimately need to win. The Bears are on a 3-game win streak. What are the Chicago Bears? It's so interesting to me. The reason it's interesting to me, to be transparent, I'm obviously an Eagles fan. You see my gear, but my family, part of my family, my wife's side of my family, a lot of them are Bears fans. So if you guys are on X, you probably know like the Eagles and Bears, they committed to an alliance, especially going into those the Packers game and the Lions game. So I've been, kind of staying close with the Bears on the side here, and they've won 3 in a row. I really don't know what to think of them. They're number 1 in their division, 3-1 at home, 4-2 away. 1-2 in the division. That's kind of what halts me, right? Because I've watched them get blown out by the Lions. I do believe they lost to. Did they beat the Vikings or did they lose? Yeah, they lost to the Vikings, lost to the Lions. So did they beat the? Excuse my pub. Yeah, they just beat the Vikings. Man, I'm spacing there. So they did play the Vikings twice. I was just wondering if they beat the Packers, but yeah, I'm looking at the Bears. I'm looking at Caleb Williams, and just kind of wondering what this team is. If they can take care of business at home against an underwhelming Pittsburgh side, right? Like this Pittsburgh side, are they as good as they were even last year with everything that was going on at the quarterback position for them? 6-4. But they did beat the Colts, right? They beat the Patriots earlier this year. So they have beat some teams. They're capable. They're capable. This is the Bears team. This is a prove it type of game for me because the Steelers need to obviously rack up some wins in the AFC. I'm perplexed on this matchup, though. I really am. Aaron Rodgers is obviously the big question mark. He broke his wrist last week against Cincinnati. It was on his non-throwing. How do you play through a broken wrist? That'll be interesting to see. Aaron Rodgers playing through a broken wrist. It's on his non-throwing hand. Not sure how that can impact you as a quarterback. I feel like that impacts you a lot. I'm going to go with Chicago in this game. I'm pulling Chicago out of the hat in this one. I think this is kind of a toss-up. I think the line speaks to that. Chicago being at home, only a 2.5-point favorite. I think for everybody, including the books, we're still in that prove it phase with the Chicago Bears because at the end of the day, you lost to the Vikings starting the season. You got blown out by the Lions 52-21. Beat the Cowboys, beat the Raiders, beat the Commanders, beat the Saints, blown out by the Ravens, beat the Bengals, beat the Bears, or beat the Giants, excuse me. The Bears can't beat the Bears. Bears beat the Giants, and then they just recently beat the Vikings. What's their signature win, I guess, would be my question. The Cowboys. It's the Cowboys in Chicago as well. Would it be the Vikings? I mean, the Vikings are Yeah, they need a signature win. I don't even think this is the signature win for me. This is a game that if they're going to be a playoff team, they should go ahead and take care of business for me. I think the signature win, you look at their schedule, they got the Eagles and they got the Packers coming up after this game against the Steelers. Obviously, you need to win this game against the Steelers to, remain serious. But if you could grab one of those games, you play the Eagles on Black Friday, you play the Packers the following week. We'll see. They got some opportunities here to prove themselves ultimately. I'll go with Chicago against the Steelers. Next up, we got the Pats, 9-2, going into Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, 3-7. When I first looked at this matchup, I was like, could this be a trap game for the 9-2 New England Patriots? There were some rumors that Joe Burrow could potentially start in this game. He's working his way back from IR. Then, you just start to look at everything and you hone it back in a bit, right? Patriots are 7.5-point favorites in this one. The big thing for me, obviously, Joe Burrow not returning this week, probably the right move considering you're going to have Jamar Chase suspended as well. You wouldn't even have his full plethora of weapons that you want to be there for him for his return. So obviously Jamar Chase is suspended for the spitting incident against Jalen Ramsey. So that's a big detractor for me, obviously. And then you have Joe Flacco starting for Joe Burrow, which Joe Flacco, he can still sling it by all means, but this Patriots defense has been pretty serious all season, and I do expect them to show up enough today. And that Cincinnati defense is just horrid. It's just horrid. The Patriots they're capable of putting up 35-40 on this Cincinnati team if they want to today. The way Travion Henderson has been running the football, also receiving the football out of the backfield. Stephon Diggs looking revived with Drake May. Drake May obviously playing some great football, MVP level football. I don't see it for the Bengals. They're 3-7. at this point. What are you trying to do? You trying to make the playoffs with this team, with this defense? They're going nowhere fast. So I am going to go with the Patriots. They should get Ramondre Stevenson back today. So they get that kind of, powerful running back to pair with Travion Henderson. Travion. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I always get confused. And then Booty should be returning at wide receiver for the New England Patriots as well, according to reports. So go with the Patriots there. Do they cover the 7.5? I think so. I think they end up blowing this the Cincinnati Bengals team out. Next, we got the New York Jets 2-8 visiting the Baltimore Ravens, who are 5-5. The Baltimore Ravens obviously on a 4-game win streak currently. Recently got Lamar Jackson back. They've hit the ground running. Struggled a little bit against Cleveland last week. He turned the ball over a little bit. But I expect them to come out and take care of business against the Jets. Obviously, this is a team going nowhere. Can't decide who their quarterback is. Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor. It really does not matter. Garrett Wilson. Is Garrett Wilson still out? I believe did he go on IR? It's hard to keep up with the Jets. Yeah, Garrett Wilson on IR. So, yeah, Jets, tough season for them. I think the Ravens continue their track towards the postseason. That's what they're trying to do. And they're making some ground. You look at the Steelers. If the Steelers lose today, right, 6-4, Baltimore wins, they would be 6-5. Steelers would be 6-5 if they lose today. So the Baltimore Ravens could catch up to the Pittsburgh Steelers by the end of today if things go their way. I expect they do win against the New York Jets. So, Baltimore Ravens continue their win streak, make it 5 in a row for me. We got the Seattle Seahawks 7-3 visiting the Tennessee Titans, who are 1-9 on the season. Cam Ward just not able to do enough for this team. Hasn't had too much of a great rookie season himself. Seattle, on the other hand, 13.5-point favorites in this one. They're on the road. Got Sam Darnold coming off a rocky game against the Rams, but on the other side of things, you got to see the Seahawks defense able to keep the Seahawks in that game where Sam Darnold throws 4 interceptions. So you got some positives out of that game, despite the loss in division. It was a close game against a top LA Rams team right now. I do expect Sam Darnold to bounce back today, although Tennessee's defense, they're not a bad defense by any means. I do expect Seattle to bounce back, and I ultimately expect Sam Darnold to bounce back and have a clean day. Clean. What up, Terry? Got the Monday Night Football slate, I believe. Yeah, the Carolina Panthers. So we got CMC. Not visiting, bringing in the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers are going on the road against San Francisco. So we'll talk about that in just a few short minutes here as we work our way through the slate. But happy Sunday. We got a busy Sunday, Terry. I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but college basketball, NBA, we got some MLS, we got English Premier League if you're into soccer internationally, and then obviously the full NFL slate. So I'm really excited for that. That's why we're getting the show in early today. We're getting all of this out of the way. That way I can go and enjoy my sports. But I like Seattle to ultimately take care of business against Tennessee. Do they cover 13.5? That's a lot. They could. They were blowing teams out before that Rams game. If Sam Darnold can clean it up like I think he will, yeah, they should cover, but we'll see. Next, we got the Minnesota Vikings 4-6 visiting the Green Bay Packers 6-3-1 on the season. Obviously, that tie dating back to the Dallas Cowboys game. You got the Green Bay Packers, who are 6-point favorites. Is this a marquee matchup? Like, what are the Vikings at this point? Like I asked earlier with the Bears, like, is that a signature win? I don't think so. I think J.J. McCarthy is like not good. I think he's not good. He hasn't looked good, in my opinion. He's had moments. Justin Jefferson backs his quarterback, though. I will say that. Says he can make all the throws in practice. Says he's super accurate at practice. He doesn't, succumb to pressure at practice. Just needs to apply it in the real game, obviously. So Justin Jefferson believes in his quarterback. The Green Bay Packers haven't been great. They got a win against the Giants last week, right? Concussed Dart. Josh Jacobs real beat up right now. Tucker Kraft on IR. This is a rival. It's a division game. Could Minnesota surprise Green Bay at Lambeau? I don't think so. I think Green Bay's defense is a little too good. I think, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary. Yeah, I think their defensive line is too good. I don't think Minnesota's going to be able to do much against their defense. And I do think they'll turn J.J. McCarthy over. But if J.J. McCarthy is who Justin Jefferson says and thinks he is, then maybe he can go out and surprise us today. I know he has been able to shock people in spots, right? They just did it a few weeks ago, I believe. Yeah, against the Lions. So they beat the Lions in Detroit. J.J. McCarthy in that game. 14 for 25, 143 passing yards, 2 tutties, 1 interception, and a rushing tutty. So 3 touchdowns from JJ in that game. Can you get a gritty type of game like that from JJ McCarthy today? We'll see. I'm going to go with the Packers at home. Do they cover the 6-point spread? I don't think so. I think it's a close game. I do think it being a division rival, I think the Minnesota Vikings, especially Justin Jefferson, frustrated right now, want to get that pass offense going. I think this will be a close one. Next, we got the New York Giants, 2-9 on the season, visiting the Detroit Lions, 6-4 on the season, coming off a tough loss in Philly last week. Jared Goff obviously struggled last week in the cold weather, that outdoor struggle that he continues to have. You have Jackson Dart out of this game. I mentioned he got a concussion last week against the Green Bay Packers. Detroit, 13-point favorites. They're at home. They're back inside where Jared Goff is comfortable. I think the Lions come out, blow the Giants out this week. Do think Jared Goff has a bounce-back game, but I think more importantly, they get that running game going again. Get Jahmyr Gibbs going, David Montgomery, get the ball in his hands a little bit more this week, and get that offense balanced out again. But, yeah, I think the Lions take care of business at home today. Next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're 6-4 in the season. They are coming off of a big win against the Chargers. I thought so. Yeah, dominating win against the Chargers, 35-6. Chargers just a weird team, but that's a good W for Jacksonville nonetheless. They take on the Arizona Cardinals, who are 3-7. The Cardinals have been involved in a ton of close games, weirdly enough, especially since Jacoby Brissett has came on the scene and started at quarterback. The Cardinals, just while we're here, they do look like a team that could just be a quarterback away. Not this season, obviously. You're stuck with Jacoby Brissett. I think Kyler Murray is on IR right now. Probably done with Kyler Murray, right? He's not the guy. They're playing better with Jacoby Brissett right now as a unit. Quarterback away. The defense is solid. They've got weapons, right? They could use a running back, like a consistent running back. James Conner on IR. What does he look like going forward? He's a little bit older. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. You got Michael Wilson, who had a huge game last week against Carolina. Obviously dropped that game against Carolina, but it was a hell of a game. Obviously, you got Trey McBride, who's arguably the best receiving tight end in the NFL, 718 receiving yards right now. This is a weird spot for the Jags. I know they're coming off the big win against the Chargers, but it's been an up and down season for them. The Cardinals are tough, especially on the road, I feel, for a team like the Jags. I kind of like the Cards at home in this one. I think this will be a pretty decent game. I think these teams will go at it. Jacksonville is 2.5-point favorites. They're still alive for the playoffs. It is a must win, especially if you want to have a chance at catching up to the Colts. 8-2 right now. Jags 6-4. If the Colts lose at Kansas City today, things could get tight if the Jags do take care of business against Arizona. But Arizona's played teams tough all season. They're at home. It is a toss-up. I'm going to go with the Cards at home, though. Yeah. We got the up next in the slate, we got the Cleveland Browns at 2-8 visiting the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm not going to spend time on this. I'm sorry. If there's any Browns fans or Raiders fans left out here like consuming NFL content, I apologize in advance to you. Raiders 4-point favorites in this one. It's in Las Vegas. Let's get weird. I'm going with the Browns on the road against Las Vegas. I do think they can hone in on their defense, and I think that takes care of the game for them. Don't think Las Vegas is doing much on offense, so I'll go with the Browns. I will not be watching that game at all. Next, we got the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New Orleans Saints. Atlanta Falcons, disappointing season, 3-7. They've had some big games mixed in there, dominating the Bills out of nowhere. They're 3-7. The Saints 2-8. Michael Penix Jr. on IR. He's done for the season, I'm guessing. You got Kirk Cousins stepping up today. On the other side, you got the rookie quarterback Shell stepping in for New Orleans. New Orleans at home, a 2.5-point favorite. It's interesting to me. I mean, obviously both these teams are bad, but I don't know. I've looked at New Orleans as the worst team all season. The Falcons are without their starting quarterback, and they're without Drake London. They do have Bijan, though. So I'm going to go with the Falcons on the road. Kirk Cousins with his experience. But, the Saints could win this game, sure. I mean, whatever. These teams are bad. Anything can happen. Next on the slate, we do have my Philadelphia Eagles 8-2. Obviously, a big game. Fuck the Dallas Cowboys. Let me just throw that out there. Just so you know where I stand with this game. I'm not going to talk about this game on here because obviously it's going to carry a lot of bias. You can hop on over to DSM_media, that YouTube channel, our DSM Philadelphia YouTube channel right here in the comments. You can hop right over there, and we will be live over there for Eagles pregame right after this episode of Turf Talk. So, yes, 8-2 Eagles taking on the 4-5-1 Dallas Cowboys. Everybody's saying the Cowboys are back. Dominated the Raiders in Las Vegas last week. Big matchup today in Dallas. We'll see what they got. Eagles 3-point favorites in that one. Yeah, let's get to the main games, right? I mentioned to Terry in the comments, we got the Monday Night Football game coming up. We got one more game before that. We got Sunday Night Football, huge matchup tonight, NFC Showdown. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 6-4 visiting the LA Rams, who are 8-2 on the season so far. Rams coming off a big W against the Seattle Seahawks. Can they keep it going? Just kind of going through a little bit of a gauntlet here against the NFC. They played pretty much all of the tough teams so far. Outside of the Eagles, they've risen to the test. I think the only other NFC team they've lost to is the San Francisco 49ers, which, I mean, that's division rival. You kind of throw that one out. You don't throw it out. Let me take that back, walk that back a little bit. You don't throw it out, but it's understandable. Rams at home in this one. They're 7-point favorites against the Bucs. The Bucs have struggled the last couple weeks. Started the season hot, lost to the Bills last week, 44-32. Obviously, Josh Allen has an MVP caliber game in that matchup. Week before that, you lose to the Patriots at home, 28-23. Drake May outperforms Baker and helps them, guides them to a win. The week before that, you get the W against the Saints, dominate them. But then the week before that, you visited the Lions, lost 24-9 on the road against Detroit. So they've ran into a little bit of a gauntlet themselves here and lost 3 out of their last 4. All that being said, the weeks before that, they played the Niners 30-19 at home, played the Seahawks on the road, beat them 38-35. So they have beat some teams as well. It's interesting. I think the line at 7 is a little much for me. Baker is supposed to be playing in this one. Bucky Irvin should be back for this one. Chris Godwin should be back for this one as well. I'm still going to go with the Rams at home. It's not really the Rams don't have home field advantage. That's not a thing for them in LA. I'm going to go with the Rams at home, though. I do think they're the better team. I think they're just playing better football right now. They're in a better rhythm, a better flow altogether. But Tampa Bay, man, 7-point favorites. That feels like a lot. Tampa Bay has played better than that this season. Can they rise to the challenge on a primetime national scale game? Baker Mayfield is known to do that. For my money tonight, though, I am going to go with the Bucs to score some points. I do think they score some points tonight. Egbuka touchdown, plus 165. I know it's the Rams. I know their defense has been stout. The Bucs are going to score some points tonight. They got a solid offense. They're getting some weapons back, which should open it up a little bit for Egbuka. And this is a rookie wide receiver who has dominated the league this year, especially in the touchdown category. So I do love the value there. We'll see how the day goes, but I'm probably going to end up laying that. The only other thing I'm looking at, man, Tampa Bay spread. I'm considering it. I probably won't do it, but I'm considering it. We'll see how the day goes nonetheless. I do like the Rams to win at home, though, to be clear. Monday Night Football, Terry. This is a big one for you. And, you think about the Panthers. I think I said this a few weeks ago, like, oh, what a matchup, Monday Night Football. The Panthers visiting the 49ers. But it is kind of it's a decent match. It's better than some of the matchups we've had of the last couple weeks, right? I mean, even some of the Eagles games the last few weeks have been, if you're not an Eagles fan, that's boring as hell watching those low-scoring games. So you get CMC hosting his former team, right? Where CMC was established, the Carolina Panthers. I think the big thing is the way the Panthers played last week. Now, mind you, it was against I believe it was the Falcons they beat last week, but no, it was the Cardinals, excuse me. Cardinals they had a showdown with. But you had Bryce Young go out there 31 for 45, 448 passing yards, and 3 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. It was just a hell of a game from Bryce Young. Excuse me, they played the Falcons last week. The Niners played Arizona. I'm getting those games confused. But Bryce Young, nonetheless, very impressive, almost 500 passing yards in that matchup last week. And then Brock Purdy on the other side, he returned last week against Arizona, went 19 for 26, 200 passing yards, 3 touchdowns as well through the air. So can the 49ers start to look like a more balanced unit, maybe not have to rely on CMC so much going forward with Purdy back, maybe space the ball out a little bit more, maybe not turn the ball over as much as Mac Jones was. Mac Jones was playing some decent football, don't get me wrong, but he was turning the ball over. This should be a pretty good game. The Panthers have been sturdy this year. They're 6-5. They're just that sturdy team in the middle of the pack. They don't have a ton of big name talent, but they've been getting by. And Bryce Young is starting to look like a guy, starting to look like a professional NFL quarterback. So I like where the Carolina Panthers are going. San Fran's 7-point favorites in this one. They are at home. I do think CMC, it's his old team. I think he has a big game naturally. I am going to go with San Fran at home, but I do think this ends up a close game. I do think Carolina covers that 7-point spread. Man, we just zoomed through that slate. How long have we been on here? 40 minutes. We got that done in under 40 minutes. I think that's pretty quick. That's pretty quick. Yeah, George Kittle. Yeah, I do agree. And obviously Brock Purdy being back, he's going to be able to get George Kittle going a little bit more than what he was. Ricky Pearsall, if I'm saying that correctly or incorrectly, I apologize. Bullet hole Ricky or gunshot Ricky. Is he back, Terry, if you're still watching out there? Obviously, you're still missing some weapons. I think I heard that Brandon Ayuk will not return this season or isn't close to returning. So been playing without a lot of your guys this season, somehow still 7-4 on the year. So it kind of speaks to the coaching staff and definitely speaks to the guys that they still have showing up each and every week. Let's get you guys out of here with some best bets or my favorite plays of the day, to put it more favoringly for myself. I'll be transparent. I was gonna go with the Colts plus 3.5. It was at -115 yesterday. I do think if Kansas City wins this game, I do think it'll end up close. I'm not going that route. I was going to. I'll be transparent. It's on my mind, but I'm going to stick with my Sixers at 1 p.m. I'm not going to lie to you. Something that stuck out to me as well, but I'm kind of backtracking it here. Hey, yeah, Terry, hey, you're not lying. AJ Brown is not rubbing me or other Eagles fans the right way, to say the least. And yeah, Brandon Ayuk, another outspoken wide receiver, right? T. Higgins touchdown against the New England Patriots. I know it's Christian Gonzalez. I know Jamar Chase is out, so Christian Gonzalez may get that assignment. I just think it's Joe Flacco. He's not shying away from matchups. He's not going to shy away from T. Higgins and using him today. I do like T. Higgins as a big target in the end zone to get in there today. I do think Cincinnati will score some points. I think they lose to New England, but I do think they'll score some points. The other thing that I'm looking at, just to give you a few plays from the Eagles game, I will share these again on the Eagles pregame live next after this on the DSM channel. But Saquon Tutty, the value, it dropped down to -110. I saw it this morning. I just think Saquon at that value, he's due for a touchdown. It's been quite a while. We saw Jalen Hurts score last week. He could very well score again this week. You know how it goes with the tush push when you get down to the 1 yard line. But I do like Saquon to break off a big one today and get it in the end zone. Sprinkle in that game. I just mentioned it, Terry. AJ Brown, he's due. He's got to score eventually this season. He cannot finish this season with the stats that he has. He's too good of a football player. I do think he gets in the end zone today as well, but that's just a sprinkle for me. Along with those two plays, I am looking at Jalen Hurts. It was at 207.5 passing yards. It moved up to 208.5 this morning. I saw it last. Was around the -110, -115 mark. I think the Eagles are going to have to score some points today for sure against that Cowboys team in Dallas. I think the Cowboys will be able to put up more points than the Lions or Packers did the last few weeks against that Eagles defense. So I do think Hurts will have to throw the football today. I mentioned the Egbuka touchdown earlier at +165. I'm not sure what it's at right now. It couldn't have moved that much. But getting him at, anywhere past like +150, I think is incredible with the rate that he's scored touchdowns this year. You get Bucky Irvin back, you get Chris Godwin back, which is going to space out the field a little bit more for Egbuka, take a little bit of the attention off of him. So I like him to get in the end zone against LA. The other thing I was looking at in that game, the line being at -7 for the LA Rams. Let me just check if that moved at all. Said it earlier. Yeah, I'm looking at that +7 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know they've had a rough few weeks. I know the Rams have been playing great football. It's an NFC showdown. Can they show up and give this Rams team a tough matchup? So yeah, Tampa Bay +7, maybe a move. That would be once again, a sprinkle. And then finally, Monday Night Football. I mentioned it earlier. The Panthers at +7. They played teams very tough this season. I just want to go back and look at some of the recent games here. Let's see. Obviously beat the Falcons last week 30-27. Lost to the Saints 17-7 at home the week before that. Yeah, I don't think I can ride with the Panthers +7 there. I think I would have to lean San Fran's way. My heart says the Panthers cover that 7. I think it's a close game. I think their defense steps up. But with the Saints loss at home, 17-7 on the resume, I'm not putting my money there. I do like CMC to have a decent day. Over 122.5 rushing and receiving yards combined, was at minus 111 earlier this morning. I like CMC to have a good day on the ground and through the air. But getting in the end zone, I think he's like the odds just aren't there for you. So not worth it there. So I do like his over in combined yards. But that's going to be it for this episode of NFL Turf Talk, guys. Glad we could get you guys kicked off with the Week 12 slate. A lot of big matchups, so I surely enjoy you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it today. Thank you for anybody and everybody that tuned in. If you haven't gone over to the Turf Talk NFL Turf Talk YouTube channel, please head over to the YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button for us. We greatly appreciate it. Help us grow over there. And keeps you involved in the comments as well. If you guys are interested in the Eagles and Dallas Cowboys pregame show, head on over to the DSM Media Philadelphia channel, and we will be live over there in just about 4 or 5 minutes. I'll be heading over there. So thank you guys for tuning in. Tap in for the next show. We'll see you guys tomorrow as well for Faithful Fanatic. Peace, everybody.